Hello, my name is Damiris. I've been working with SEO for the past decade. I've already helped my clients to achieve more than 10 million additional users on their accounts and also to generate more than 68 million additional dollars on their operations with organic hacking, aka SEO, content, and CRO. And today I'll be discussing with you about how to do an SEO audit. So today's audit will be a high-level audit. Of course, if you were to do it on a very comprehensive, thorough way, it would take more than half an hour / 40 minutes, which is the whole value proposition of this video. But I will teach you how you can do one very good preliminary audit that can get you started in about 30 to 40 minutes, and I think that it will be better than 80 to 90% of the audits that you see out there. So without further ado, let's dive in. Essentially, what are the components of an SEO audit? So usually we want to make sure that we go through at least 4 major pillars, which are technical SEO, on-page SEO, content SEO, and off-page SEO. All of these 4 pillars are a must. There are other sub-pillars that you can go through. For example, technical SEO, you can extend yourself on core web vitals, or you can go more in depth on JavaScript to understand if the website is being coded in a way that is easy for the crawler to understand it, the balance between HTML and text, etc. But I will go more high level over here. Same goes for on-page SEO, content SEO, and off-page SEO. You can take a good 3 to 4 hours on each one of these pillars if you want to go on every sub-pillar that is important for them. But we want to be very practical, very action-oriented on this audit that we are going to do together. So I'll go through the main points inside of those. Starting off with technical SEO. So we want to make sure to evaluate, at least on a high level, these following items, which are response codes, mobile friendliness, robots, core web vitals, image size / format, sitemap, and if there are orphan pages on the website. So what are the tools that I usually utilize for technical SEO? Essentially SEMrush, Screaming Frog, or you could use Sitebulb if that's your preference. Same goes over here like SEMrush or Ahrefs. And then PageSpeed, right? Insights. Optional, but sometimes it is interesting for you, GTmetrix. This is more like on PageSpeed evaluation, right? So these are the 80-20 that you need to at least have a high-level understanding of the technical SEO on your website, and I will show you how I would do it with this sample website over here. So first things first, I go on Screaming Frog, and essentially I will start mapping the website. If you want to know more how to set up Screaming Frog, you can click over here on a video that I will do specifically going through the tool. For this video's sake, I will essentially just do the audit without explaining too much about the tools, right? So while the Screaming Frog goes and essentially crawls our website, I will create a new project on SEMrush. So essentially, I'm utilizing, of course, the same domain. Then I will configure this audit to be a sample audit. I won't go very in-depth. I'll just go for 500 pages. Awesome, so we will be crawling the pages over here. And one thing that I already did is that I connected PageSpeed Insights API already on Screaming Frog, so I can get PageSpeed scores on most of the pages on this particular website. So if you are interested, you can go through PageSpeed API and Screaming Frog connection, and there are a bunch of content out there about this. I'll also make sure in the future to launch one specifically of myself showing how I would connect Screaming Frog with the PageSpeed API, but it's quite simple, so you won't have a lot of trouble doing that if you already have a high level knowledge about how to utilize Screaming Frog and similar technical SEO tools. Awesome. So Screaming Frog, SEMrush, they already tell us response codes, high-level robots. I have the OpenAI API, so it will cover Core Web Vitals. Screaming Frog already gives us image size / format. SEMrush gives us essentially orphan pages. So one thing that we can manually check is if the website has a sitemap XML. So this is quite simple to do. They do have it. They have one that is automatically generated by Yoast, which is most of the case for WordPress websites. So the only thing that I would check is if they have a substantial amount of pages over here and if it seems like somewhat reasonable. I won't go very in-depth with searching for orphan pages here because SEMrush does that for us. But overall, they have an XML sitemap, so that's good. Probably that's a check over here. So we can already check for response codes, robots, and image size with Screaming Frog. So I have one proprietary tool that I utilize to help me to do this evaluation faster. So I will use it, but you can always check manually as well to understand what are the issues that are present on the website. So let's go for response codes. Here we have about 79% of internal and external pages success 200s. So this is slightly below what I would consider an ideal score. We do have 7% on client error, which again, I would say that is above the threshold that I usually look for. There's like 2 to 3%. Redirects are okay, like 13%. So overall, I would give this like a B, essentially. Usually we want to see like success 200s to be above 80%. Redirects, it's kind of okay, like between 8 to like 12%. So it's kind of like close to it. And then client error is the one that worried me the most because usually we want something that is below 3%. So 7% is considerably higher. So I'll probably give this like a B- or a C+. But I have this tool over here that helps me to do exactly this. So let me check. So essentially here we have about 80% of pages that are indexable and crawlable. Page with errors is around 7%. And then I'll leave the others for our future evaluations. So yeah, this would be around like a B- or a C+. So it is consistent with my overall evaluation. So essentially, B- to a C+, and then if you want to describe, redirects are slightly higher than the recommended threshold. Tension point. 400s are too high. 7%, they should be ideally below 3%. So this is the highest attention point, right? So maybe warning, right? And then if you want to, you can give it a screenshot over here and add it to our audit. All right. So this won't be like a pretty audit, right? So for a full pretty audit, I would do maybe another video or even a tutorial. I'm just like checking for opportunities for you to start to work, right? Okay, so we can proceed for image size and format on Screaming Frog as well. So let me check what we have over here. So 53% missing alt text, that's like very high. Usually we want something below like 20 to 15%. And images over 100 KB are also very high. Usually we want to keep it below like 10 to 15%. So for images, essentially I would give like a C- or even a D. So what we can do over here is that we can screenshot it. Come over here. So I would give it D. And then I can describe like main issues, missing all tests, and essentially too large. The images are too large, right? So we can do this. And then we have this one done as well. Here you can say the website has a sitemap XML and it is decently organized, generated by Yoast. Then we can make sure to screenshot that over here as well. Come back over here, and there we have it. Let me organize this over here. So now we are left with core vitals, robots, mobile friendliness. So for robots, we can already high level check that also on the internal response codes. Usually when we have something blocked by robots, we have these already being signed on this internal internal/external over here. So I don't think we have any issues regarding robots for now. So let me essentially of course, if we were to do a very in-depth review, we would explore these further, but for now, on a high-level view, we don't have relevant resources or pages being blocked by robots. Then, of course, on a more in-depth view, we want to make sure that actually we are blocking pages that are not relevant on the website, so we won't waste our crawl budget with pages that are not relevant. But for like urgent matters like website not being indexable, we don't have this issue and we can already check it out on Screaming Frog. So last but not least, let's go through page speed results. Just page speed. So let me take this off. Alright, so for page speed, our average score is decent, so we can even export it to understand what is the average score, probably on desktop. 1 second. I have it over here. So essentially we have an average of 84, which is considered a good page speed score. So 82, sorry. So I screenshot this. Okay, mark this over here, the average, and then done. So essentially we do have decent score on core vitals. So page speed / performance average is at 82, which is considered above average score, right? It's not perfect, could be better, but definitely good. So okay, of course later we can like describe better the image. We can even generate it with AI. It's decent. Okay, so for mobile friendliness, since we do have good scores on like overall core web vitals, I wouldn't worry too much about mobile friendliness. So the score on SEMrush is also ready, so we can find out what are the main issues over here. So let's dive in. Duplicated meta descriptions, title, no viewport, warnings, low text to HTML ratio, underscores in the URL. Yeah, we do have a decent amount of orphan pages over here. So let's open this. 1 second. So let me export it. Let me also like screenshot it. Let me get back to our audit. So for orphan pages, probably I would give them like a C-. We have a substantial amount of orphan pages. These pages. And then usually SEMrush has already like a description of the issue. Cool, so when you export SEMrush's PDF for orphan pages, you already have access to a description of the issue, so you can utilize that over here. And there you have it. You can also attach the XML over here or anywhere that you want it, right? So you can generate a link. So for example, you can come over here, put it over here. Cool. So you can paste it over here, and there you have it. So for the basic stuff, we are good. Usually they also have something regarding like mobile friendliness issues. So site performance is alright. We don't have any issue with mobile friendliness apparently. Yeah, I think we can consider the website decent. Yep. So for mobile friendliness, I will leave it as it is for the moment. We don't have anything major going on over here apparently. So this is everything that I would go through for technical SEO. Okay. All right, so let's proceed for on-page SEO. Cool. So page titles, 23% below 30 characters, so this is slightly concerning. Duplicated is okay. Alright, so I'll go back to my tool, play with it a little bit. Duplicated page titles is 2%. This one is the one that worried me the most. Meta descriptions, missing 7, duplicated 4. H1s, missing 4, duplicated 1, duplicated H2, 14, missing 33. So essentially we got a B over here. The main issues are short titles and missing H2 tags, which I agree with. So let me take this, put it over here. So on the high level evaluation of the website on page SEO, we found that there are the following opportunities. So short red, right? Short titles, red, missing H2 tags, and then blue, missing meta descriptions, and duplicated H2 tags. For these ones, I do have so for H2 tags, I already have a recommendation over here that I can insert. So H2 missing H2s, and essentially I can copy and paste this recommendation over here. And for short titles, it's quite simple actually, right? So make sure to write titles that are above 45 characters so you can make them more descriptive to the user, right? Cool. So let me make these smaller. Okay. So on page SEO, meta titles, descriptions, H1, H2. Then we have alt text. So let me check. Oh, we already actually put that on the technical SEO overview. So we already have it over here on image, alt text and too large. So okay. And then what we can do is like very high level check for like navigation to understand if the website has essentially a menu, right? So they have a menu for the home, about us, menu pages, vendor pages, contact, and blog. They do have internal links over here of recent blogs, so that's okay. We can also check the templates for the blog if they have a menu over here, footer, so they do have a very base level internal linking, but that's exactly what we want to evaluate. The navbar persists regardless of the page that we get at. So that's all good. So for the 80-20, we're also good with this one, so we can remove this and just keep this overlevel view over here, right? So let's go for content SEO. Here again, we are utilizing Screaming Frog as the main two, but we can also utilize Surfer SEO as well. So duplicated content, let's go for the content tab over here on Screaming Frog. So they don't have a lot of issues. They have 0 duplicated. They have 3% of low content pages, but that's not bad. They do have a slightly above average readability difficulty. I would say we want to keep it below 10%, but nothing very worrisome. So I'll give them like a B+ on this one, honestly. Cool, so let me do this. So for the overall grade, B. For the overall content structure, we don't have a substantial amount of relevant issues, although there is one considerable opportunity with making the content of improving the content readability on a handful of blogs. That's not a high priority issue, but a good opportunity to tackle, right? So this one we can make it large. Usually I also like to give grades kind of like a color. So this one are gone. And then we can make sure to actually check for content score. So this one is an extra. I wouldn't say that this is necessary for us to evaluate like high level issues on the website, but if you do have Surfer SEO and you want to go a little bit more in depth, what we can do is that we can audit the content on Surfer SEO, especially if we have specific pages that are like core pages on their website. So either you can utilize this content audit feature that you can essentially create a content audit based on an account that you have access on Google Search Console, and it will spit for you essentially the content score for a handful of pages. Or if you want to check essentially individual grades, you can go for this audit over here. You can create a new audit. You can select specific keywords that you want to evaluate on the website, copy and paste the URL over here, and select a specific region that you want if you are using content SEO as part of your strategy. So for the purpose of this exercise, I will essentially go through a new content audit for this website. I already have access to their Google Search Console, so this will be slightly more convenient. So I will select top 100 pages by traffic, and then I will create an audit. So this can take a while. I'll leave it on the background and I'll get back to you in a couple of minutes. Hey guys, I'm back. For the purpose of this video, I will just take the average of the content score that I have over here. So essentially, I would say that out of everything that we have, the average is probably around 55 to 60 by what I'm seeing over here, which is slightly below average. We do want to keep it at least to like 65 to 70. So I'll probably give them a grade of a B- or even a C+. So for the purpose of this exercise, I will simplify it, but of course, if you do have the time to wait for all the pages to be evaluated, that's the ideal version of these, right? So let me screenshot that. Go back over here. Let me create essentially a column over here. Gosh, no. Column. Edit over here. Grade B-. The average content score of your top 100 pages is 55 to 60, and we expect it to be around 70 to 75, although there are relevant opportunities on this area. We don't have any critical or urgent actionable beside optimizing the lower score pages. And then of course we can insert over here the spreadsheet with the link for the lowest score pages. So essentially for content, we have a B, right? So we have B here, so it's a B. Cool. For on-page SEO, we have a B as well. For technical SEO, let me double check on our tool. So here we have around like 53 by what I've seen, and the average score here is 82. So we got a B as well. Grade B. Then we can essentially focus on the areas that worried us the most, which are actually, let me make it a big text instead. Response codes that we got C. Then we have image SEO that we got a D. We have page speed, we got an A, and orphan pages grade, we got like a C, right? Oh yeah, for robots, we got a like a B plus-ish. So here I use a yellow, here I use a red, here I use a green, again yellow, and then for this one we got blue. Cool. Then on a smaller text we can say this, small text, then we can make it a bullet point. For correlate vitals we can do this one on a small text. For image SEO, where is it? We do have essentially high number of pages without alt text, 55%. High number of images too large, I think it was 53%. Small text, right? And what we can do over here is we can do it like that. Considerable amount of pages, 150-ish are orphan. And for this one we didn't find anything too relevant, right? So I think that's all good to simplify. What I will do is that I will essentially keep these resources over here if the client has any questions, but I will leave them inside a toggle. Let me pause to do that because it will be a bit annoying. Alright, I'm back. So I just hid the screenshots over here to look more user-friendly, right? So we already have technical SEO grade B. We have over here all the criteria that we took into consideration. We already have on-page SEO, grade B as well. We have here the main issues that we found and essentially what we need to do to fix them. We already have content SEO over here as well, the main issues that we found, and essentially a high-level description of them. So essentially our client over here is doing fairly well. They got a B as an average for everything, so I would likely say they already did SEO work in the past. I know them, so I know that they already did SEO work in the past because they are slightly above average SEO wise, right? They got an average of a B, so that's pretty neat. And then last but definitely not least, finally we got to off-page SEO audit. So how do we simplify this exercise that could literally take us like many hours? The way to do that is to first of all find who are potential organic competitors. So instead of evaluating each one of them very in depth, we will compare the authority score, number of linking domains. Okay. So number of linking domains, and then of course we will map essentially the toxicity of the links, although this is not a high level like priority. I would say like optional, because this is arguable, because it is arguable if Google considers that as a ranking factor, the toxicity, but let's dive in, right? So how I would do that, first of all, going back to SEMrush, essentially I will search for potential competitors of Simplecator. So one way that you can approach it is essentially doing your search over here, going down here and looking for the competitive positioning map. So essentially it will bring some suggestions of players that have some affinity with our client, or you can interview your client and already get who are the potential competitors, or last but definitely not least, you could take your keyword research and see who is ranking on the top like 3 to 4 spots for keywords that you want to rank for. So for the purpose of keeping this simple, I will essentially take the ones that are suggested over here, right? So the biggest one is this one. They have a 17 score. Then we have this one. They have an 18 score. And our player, they have a 22. So they are doing better comparably. So essentially what we will do over here is that we will say that our client is 22, one is 17, and I think one is 16. So we got an A in terms of authority. So screenshot that, come over here, paste it over here. And they got an A, right? Of course, if you are doing that more in depth, you can actually compare them to players that are more relevant on their niche. I know for a fact that they are very small compared to other players on their market, but for the purpose of this exercise, I kept it very simple, comparing to very closely related domains instead of going for example, bigger players that I know that are like market leaders on this specific niche. So they will likely get a C plus or a B minus if I were to compare to bigger players, but since we're comparing to high affinity domains, they got an A. So this is a disclaimer. 22 is usually not a high score for authority. SEO wise, we usually want scores that are above 30, even if it is like a niched domain. If it is a very local SEO niche, it can be like 20 something, but for like nationwide players, we do want to keep it above 30, right? So they will likely get a C plus if we were to do a more in-depth and thorough evaluation, but let's keep it simple, right? So off-page SEO, green, right, gray A. Your website has an authority score that is above from of high affinity domains on your market. 22 versus 17, 16. Good job. So this is a way to extra simplify it. And then of course we can check for toxicity is one other component that we want to evaluate over here. So toxicity level, and then essentially we'll go over here and we want to understand if this network graph is healthy, and we also want to understand if we're more towards natural profile rather than link power or other stuff. So essentially over here we can see that we have a healthy network graph. We have a natural profile, which is very good, like natural ratio of follow to no follow links, unique backlink profile, diverse pool of referral IP addresses, blah, blah, blah. So essentially we can fairly say that they are healthy toxicity wise, right? We can go through also SEMrush's backlink audit, so we can set this up so we can have a specific score, but I already know they will probably get a good score considering all of the scenario over here. So I'll pause it and go back when it is ready so we can confirm this thesis. Hey guys, I'm finally back. It took a while for SEMrush to evaluate the toxicity score. Essentially we got an okay score, like I would give it a B minus as well, which is in line with most of our clients' grades. So essentially we got a B plus as the average. Here we got a B minus. The domain has a medium toxicity level. Though this is not urgent in the short term, we need to make sure that we won't receive any additional toxic links on our link building efforts. So one thing that I did while I was waiting for SEMrush to work on the toxicity level is that I essentially went on Gamma and said, please make this more visual. So you can see over here that it does look better, like more visual, easier to digest for non-technical people. And then of course I have over here the toggle for screenshots, so we can essentially copy and paste evidence to our claims. So it's alright, I guess. So let's keep it like that. And then here I have essentially a roadmap that I generated again. I just like add card with AI, and I described, please take all the pillars that have a grade of B, C, and D and make a roadmap based on them. And this is the result that we got. It's fairly decent. Essentially the AI built like 75 to 80% of these, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. So overall our client got a B minus, so B plus here, B minus here, B minus here, and if I'm not mistaken, technical SEO was kind of like a B plus. So B plus, actually B minus, because they do have a lot of 404. So B minus, on page B minus, content SEO B minus, and off page SEO B plus because the domain authority in theory is good. And here is the roadmap. I divided into 3 different months, addressing each one of the main pillars: technical SEO, on-page SEO, content SEO. Off-page is a B plus, so it's fairly decent. I won't add any actions on the next 3 months, considering that this is the healthiest pillar. And yeah, there you have it. This is a material that is fairly decent for you to start off your SEO work. I did it in a little over 45 minutes, but it takes a while for me to explain that to you. In reality, if you were doing it by yourself, it will likely take 35 to 40 minutes for you to have all of these done. Worst case scenario, like 45 minutes, right? So then you can make a presentation for your client saying, look, this is everything that I got on my SEO audit. So high level, executive level, summary. So technical SEO is good, but it could benefit from optimization efforts. Same for on-page and content. And then off-page SEO is fairly decent. We won't make anything in the next 3 months because it's like B+. So for technical SEO, we got all these pillars over here that we evaluated. The main issues are X, Y, and Z. So for response codes, a lot of 404s, image, a lot of images without alt text, images too large, orphan pages, decent number, like 150 on average. Robots is alright, nothing to worry about. On-page SEO, main issue, short titles, missing H2 tags, and we do have smaller issues that are less important, but we should address them. Which are missing meta descriptions and duplicated H2s. For content SEO, B-, we do have an overall okay content like structure. We don't have a lot of duplicated pages or low/thin content pages, but content quality could be slightly better. So we have the issue of the average being 55 to 60 when we want it to be around 70 to 75. Off-page SEO overall, all good. Only thing that we should pay attention is toxicity level that is medium, nothing to do in the short term, but let's take an eye on it. And this is the suggested roadmap for all of the changes that could essentially make our website increase in the next quarter. So yeah, this is how you do a high level SEO audit. Of course, if you want to go more in depth, you can make it more thorough. You can spend like 3, 4, 5 hours on an SEO audit if you want to make it more in depth and with more data, but this is enough for you to make a quarterly plan that is, I would say, 80 to 85% on point for any SEO action that you want to take on an average domain. So for more advanced techniques, there are other ways that you can go about it, but this is the bread and butter that works 80 to 85% of the time. If you want help to implement more efficient systems of conducting SEO in your web dev, web design agency, or if you are an SEO agency but you want to do things more efficiently and in a way that essentially your clients perceive more value, then you can schedule a call with me on the link down below. I will make sure in this call to talk with you how you can scale your agency up to $3 to $4 million of revenue per year. So if you are in your path to get to these numbers, then let's have a chat, so let's have a discovery call, and I hope I can help you because I already helped dozens of agencies to scale more efficiently with higher margins, with better SEO and CRO services. So it was a pleasure talking with you today. If you liked this content, then you can subscribe to see more, and see you on the next one. Cheers!